Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. In this one, I'm giving you my update and perspectives on Apxt stock. Of course, that is soon to be Avepoint stock. So yeah, I'm going to be telling you what I think is going to happen with this one. I'm going to be telling you what I would personally do and all of that kind of good stuff. So if that does sound like a plan, please do subscribe to the channel. Of course, it is official now, guys. If you are not subscribed, you are officially missing out. So please do subscribe. It would be massively appreciated. And of course, if you do want to come and join us on Discord where we talk all about stocks, absolutely feel free to. Link to that is down in the description. So yeah, we're just going to not waste any time and jump straight into this episode. So the reason why I've brought up the S&P is because I think it is generally speaking important to compare a particular stock to the whole of the market, and I think the S&P 500 is a great index to make that comparison. More on that in just a moment, but what we are first going to do is look at how the Avepoint or Apxt stock has been moving over the past 5 days, then pan out to the last month or so and see how we do go on from there. So of course, looking at this on the past day, we are unfortunately in the red, not by too much dare I say, but what we have seen in the past day is actually a lot of volatility. So we have actually started off the day on about $14.35. We saw lows of the day of $14.04. We saw highs after that of $14.33. So if we do have a quick look at the percentage that has gone down by, it's only minus 3.5%, but that is not bad at all. Sorry, minus 0.35%, so even smaller. Obviously, that is not a huge amount at all. It's a very small amount, actually. But when we do see, the difference between the highs and the lows, we can see that from a percentage point, it has actually been moving a lot. We've seen about a 1 to 2% decrease, and then it go back up from that point. So it just goes to show how volatile this has been on the past day. Looking at this on the 5-day chart, we can see that we have been seeing a decline over the past 5 days. Once again, it has been quite volatile, as we have seen low points, which have then been followed up by high points just to meet new lows and then just to go high again. So of course it's been a very volatile period over the past 5 days, but that is not necessarily a bad thing at all. When we do have a look at the most significant part of the chart, in my opinion, and of course I am not a financial advisor, but I do believe it's very important to look at the past day. If we do have a quick look at the past day, we can see that towards the end of the day we have seen the stock price take quite an increase on the green side, and I think that is definitely a good sign to see. I think that does show some strength for into the next week, and I'm going to be talking about that in just a moment, but I do think this is a good sign, for future growth. Obviously, when we talk about this stock, I still do believe it's extremely undervalued in my personal opinion, because I do believe, or at least at the minute, not a lot of hype has gone into the stock, because, the company is kind of undervalued in a sense, because there's two ways to look at these SPACs, and it does depend on the industry, in my opinion, going off what I have seen in the past. I think some SPACs which are highly anticipated, a lot of people do get in before the merger. In those cases, it can be a great opportunity to catch some move in that merger period, perhaps do a swing trade, buy in now, sell out 2 days before the merger. But in other cases, we have seen companies which don't do much movement at all before the merger, but then once that merger does happen, we do see a huge increase. And I think it's very interesting when we do see that second pattern, but I think this could still mean that this is a great opportunity to buy, especially with the most recent price decreases, because in that sense, you have kind of caught yourself in the best position, in my opinion, because if it goes up in the short term, you're buying at a low point. If it goes up in the long term, you are still buying at a low point. So of course, sometimes when we talk about buying in for the short-term period, we are buying at a high price just to sell at an even higher price just before it does go down. In this instance, I do think you are buying at a very cheap price, whether it's long or short-term. So I'm not too worried about this stock at all. I do still see it as being a buy for the long term. I'm going to be talking about this more in just a moment. So yeah, why have I brought in the S&P 500? So the main reason which I have brought in this is because it's generally speaking a great indicator for how the whole market is moving and how people are feeling towards stocks. And if we do have a quick look, it kind of does, or at least somewhat on the 5-day chart, mirror the patterns of Apxt. And I say this because we have kind of seen a similar increase on the 5-day period towards the end on the Friday. I think this does show strength in stocks. If you guys don't already know, I'm sure you do, the S&P 500 is an index of the 500 top American companies listed on their stock exchange. And of course, generally speaking, people do invest in these companies. These are highly reputable companies. We've got things like Apple on there, things like Google, Tesla, all these top brands. And of course, if people are happy to buy these stocks, in my opinion, it generally shows strength in the market. Now, there are two ways to view this, and it has been something which I saw once, and I did see it as being quite a significant thing, and it kind of has been true ever since I did read it. It was something that I said it's a case of, the market outperforms the stock, and then the stock catches up to the market, or the stock outperforms the market, then the market catches up to the stock. So what does this even mean, and why am I saying this? Basically, if the market is doing well and a particular stock is not, eventually over time it is speculated that this stock will catch up to the market, not necessarily 100% follow its patterns, but do a positive move because of what the market has done, if the market's done a positive move. And of course, there is the other side where a particular stock does well and the whole market does pick up sometimes after that. So why am I saying this? Basically, this last piece of strength on the past day on the S&P 500, in my opinion, does show strength in a lot of American stocks. And I do believe this could potentially be a time which we are going to see an increase on a lot of stocks. And I think Apxt will be in there with some of the best, in the sense that not only is it a cheap stock, but it's also a great buy at the moment because, of course, it's very cheap, and also the SPAC merger has not gone through. But I do believe it will go up in the next week. So, of course, giving my full analysis now, I do believe that towards a Monday we should hopefully see a small increase in the price, and I think that could hopefully continue. But I do think it will be a bit more volatile over the next week. However, I do believe we could end up the next week green, simply due to the fact that we have been selling off for quite a significant period of time, in my opinion, at least over the past 5 days and whatnot. And I do believe because of that, we do have some potential room for growth, and I would hope that does pick up. So do I consider this one a buy, and would I be buying it? Where we are sat at right now, I do believe it's probably one of the best prices to buy it that we can probably see, because either way, whether it's growth before the merger or growth after the merger, I do see some significant growth coming. Obviously, if you have watched our last video on this stock, you will have noted that we saw about Snowflake IPO and how once that one came onto the market, the value of it shot up. And I do believe we could see something similar with this company. So of course, I'm definitely keeping this one on my watch list, and I would consider buying it on Monday. So I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye until then.